What's up, Kryptonians? It's time for Krypton Episode 4, Voice of Rao, where we get to see a little bit more of Rao than just his voice. And Lyda is in question for treason, and Seg has been taken captive, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Percocet, Miley Percocet, Miley Percocet.
I love the cape band.
Gotta represent.
I feel like we need to get, hold on, I want to make it fly.
Never chase no mask on.
That's right, the mask comes off this week, you guys.
Mask on.
Like I said, you guys, the Voice of Rao's mask is off and things are
Going down.
wild.
Transpired.
Yes.
We've got so much in this episode, you guys, but before we get into it, let me introduce myself. I'm Steph Sabraw, and I'm joined by two lovely people. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, everybody. My name is Super Tony. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
Yep.
And I'm Candice Cruz. I don't have anything spectacular about that.
Other than
right there.
her, she's just spectacular
Oh,
in general.
thank you. I love it.
Well, this episode, we have so much to talk about. This episode was so good. I think it was my favorite of the season so far. The Voice of Rao. He's struggling to maintain his control while House Vex is kind of plotting. It isn't kind of. They are plotting against him.
Straight plotting.
Straight coup right there.
The Voice of Rao calls for Nova Day to be moved up, and we get our first look of Black Zero-ish associates.
Possibly. Not confirmed.
Yeah, not confirmed, kind of confirmed.
Or denied.
Oh, yeah, true.
I just had to
True. You right. You also right. You cannot confirm nor deny.
There you go.
Yes, but they're fishy. They're fishy, right?
Yes. So we'll be hitting the Nova Cycle, Ona, and Voice of Rao's, and then we'll move to Seg and his whole gang. And then Black Zero, can't confirm or deny. And then Lyda accused of treason, House of Zod, and House Vex, and kind of their motives moving forward. So before we get into that, what were your guys' just initial thoughts of this episode?
Oh, yeah, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. We saw some little action. We saw some creepy crawly also action going into Nose. Thought that was pretty cool. I like a little horror element to my shows.
Nasty.
So it was a nice little, nasty bit. I like.
That one threw me off. I couldn't handle that. My nose started twitching the whole time. But I loved this episode so much because I felt like the other episodes were amazing, but I felt like now seeing this episode, we don't have any more backstory that we need to establish. Now we're just in the like depths of everything. You know what I mean? Like the thick of it. We don't have to like establish characters as much. We don't have to kind of establish like the storyline. At the beginning, it's more like we're just in all of it.
Yeah, I agree.
So
the
really
first
cool.
two episodes were really good world building, and they're
Yes.
still doing that. I think this is why this show is really strong and why it definitely should keep moving forward as a series in general. But now, like you said, we get to see actually more development with like Voice of Rao, where we're like, who the heck is this guy behind this mask? He's still creepy, but
Creepy mask.
Yeah, very creepy mask.
Looks very clunky.
Yeah.
How do you look, dude?
How are you
Way
looking
do
through
you
this?
look?
Like, can he ever just look down, or else it just be like whoop?
I have so many questions about him still.
I feel like that would just be so hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Just saying, like
how sweaty is your face, like on
at all
average?
time.
Oh my gosh, I would break out so bad.
Anyways, we digress. But yeah, sorry.
So yeah, but I agree. We get a little more of him, but I will say that I would love moving forward. I still want more kind of back information on Voice of Rao. Like, how did he get there? Has he been the one since Val-El was thrown off the cliffs into the space world? So he has the Nova Cycle moved up because there's been like discourse within the rankless group, and he's trying to get organization back. And I think it's really interesting. We saw it last episode with like class struggles, and now we're bringing in like religious struggles and the way that it's used for power. And it's real, like, what do you guys think is going on? Because now we see that Darren Vex he must not really be a believer. Like, do you guys think a lot of this religion is a hoax?
I think to an extent. I think everyone always wants, like in general, human beings want to believe in something and believe in something bigger than themselves. And like even Rao, as we see like the Voice of Rao, whenever he feels threatened, you realize like if people don't have something to believe in or to like worship or to whatever, like your foundation can crumble because people end up going against each other. So I just find it really fascinating. Like whether or not he believes, he just knows that there needs to be a higher power of some sort.
So whether or not the voice of Rao or Rao in general is like a fake, no, I gotta say it's definitely real. It's real to the people who believe in it for sure. But I kind of want to focus. Well, what I liked about what they showed us about Rao on this episode was how it's used to control the people.
Yeah.
Because there was unrest in the rank list, and they were like, all right, we got to do this ceremony so people can like quiet down. And I thought it was very interesting because beforehand, like the previous episode is all like the military is trying to, in a sense, not suppress the people, but like, do something with the rank list. And then this is a more peaceful approach, but it's also like clouded in a way that you're still controlling the people. This is a very it's very constant with how Rao or the voice of Rao works, just like how he dealt with Seg and how he let him not have the insignia of Vex and gave him the scientific guild insignia.
No, I think that's really true, and I think it kind of parallels with the whole idea that we do get to kind of peel off the layers of Rao. Like, we see his mask off, his robes off, and so it's like there is a man behind this. We don't know what his... And so with this whole moving up Nova Day, trying to control the rank list when they really have nothing, they're living in so impoverished and in such unfair treatment that it's like, literally. What is this man's motive? Because you do see he is a man, but we still don't know who he is.
Right.
So then at the Nova Day, this is where things really start picking up in this episode, in this plot line with Ona. She finds out her mom's not coming back. She has this kind of like, I guess it's the equivalent of like Catholic Christian cross almost.
Right. Like the insignia?
Yeah.
Real quick, can I just touch on what you said? Like, he has no motives, and I think it's...
No, I don't know what his motives are.
Or we don't know what his motives are. But, well, personally, I think it didn't really matter. Like, he's like, spoiler, he's offed. Like, he's done. Like, then it doesn't matter who he was before. Like, it's just done. That's why he kept his like face revealed the whole time, because it honestly didn't really matter who he was under there. It was more like the message and like the lore that he brought to the show is the reason why he existed. But now I feel like it's more like to hide Brainiac's actual plots now, because with that helmet, no one's gonna know. Oh yeah, there's a Brainiac. Under there.
Other than the fact that there was a lot of people watching this show thought that Voice of Rao could be Brainiac, like from the past, and then but now we get that spoiler alert that it's not now. Brainiac is in him, which is like the biggest come up ever, which we'll get into later.
Right.
So that's a really good point, Anthony. But so we see that Ona gets to stand up, and I was freaked out.
I thought they were gonna kill her. I know that's like, but that's my first feeling and reaction when I see this child go up and there's like this ceremony. I'm like, oh God, they're gonna sacrifice this little girl, and she's gonna be happy about it because she loves Rao so much. And I'm just like, oh no, please.
Voice of Rao's like, hold on, let's quiet down these rank lists here. Let's murder this.
Let's just murder the little child.
Rankless girl here.
You don't know.
But they could all be like, yes, sacrificial. Yes, you don't know. That could be something that we don't know.
That's why I like how they hit on religion. And I hope that they hit on kind of how the rankless in that society take the religion, because it can get so creepy and manipulated under the wrong sort of power or voice of the religion.
Again, I think people just want something to believe in, and when you have nothing like the rankless do, you have absolutely nothing. Like, what else do you have in this life other than to worship something bigger than you are? And the fact that Ona got to go up with Rao and gets a rank of sort, it's just like, oh my gosh, that could be my child, or oh my gosh, like we can get better. It gives hope. And hope is the driving thing for people.
It's like she just became an angel and she just got like her halo.
Well,
like,
and it's such a power move on his part because it's like, oh, like someone can come up, like rags to riches. Like, I just blessed everyone. Keep believing in me. And
belief and hope will keep people going. Even if they never reach that, it just keeps you going.
I love how we're like, Rao didn't plan this, but like this can work.
Yeah, he was like just giving it a gift.
He's like, I'm just gonna pray for now. Wait, there's a little girl. Hold on, bring her. This can work. This can work. We can make this work.
We found something work. Bring her
The
up.
rankless will be on our side. Get her in the little dress. we got a dress. We got a dress back there for her. Yeah, we got tons of them.
I loved the lighting too. It was just so like
She literally
So
looked
angelic.
like a baby angel.
She was a cherub.
The
Like just
sun
go.
in Teletubbies. You know that? Like I was like, oh my god! I really hope they don't do the whole handmaiden look, like with the typing on her
I was
face.
gonna say,
Oh
yeah. I
yeah.
was like, oh,
Well,
she
maybe
gonna
you
get
have to
timer.
earn those.
Yeah,
Maybe you have to like
are
earn
an
those. Like
interesting character as well,
right.
Yeah.
Because they seem to know the most about the voice of Rao than anyone.
And their scripture or whatever their like beliefs are.
And we see that the one of the handmaidens, I don't know exactly what they're called, when she gets called to talk to him, she looks, I can't tell what their feelings are about him. If it's fear, if it's like, oh no, we really do know him, he has a different side.
I got more like management, like, hey man, it's time to get your shit on, it's time to get your stuff on, and
Put the head on. Let's go. Let's go.
that's what I honestly, I didn't feel any fear from them. I didn't feel any like, no fear, nor it was more like acquaintance, like, hey dude, like, come on, yeah.
Okay.
It was more like professional.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll see more of them now, especially that their voice of Rao.
Do they grow up within that? Because it seems like it because of the way that Ono is taken in. They like are raised.
Like
up
every year
into
they get a
be that,
letter on
like-
their face. Or something.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe.
So
You never
creepy.
know.
Maybe.
That could be their cycles.
That could be, yeah. I agree.
Depiction.
It could be, yeah.
Well, and do you guys have anything more to say about that before we get into the inception of Brainiac
Right.
into Rao and kind of the new development on Val-El's research on him?
Did you guys ever get the feeling that Rao seems like he's afraid?
Yeah.
He seems like he knows something is going on. And I think that is depicted also in the power moves that he does make, like with not giving the
Right.
insignia and then taking in Ona. Like I feel like he's grappling at whatever bit of power he still has, because I feel like if you are at that place in power, you should know everything that's going on within your presence. I feel like he actually knows that there is a coup going on, so he's like trying some way or another to keep power in whatever way he can. But maybe that's just what I was perceiving
No,
from
I
him.
think-
Like,
Okay. I mean, sorry. Are you good?
yeah, I'm
Sorry.
good. I'm done. I'm done.
Just making sure. I actually don't feel that he's afraid at all. Like, and
You don't?
also,
Okay.
and I don't think it matters anymore because he's not Rao anymore. Like, he's
mean,
not the voice.
Obviously, but
He's like the brain of Rao.
I don't think
Brainy
that
Rao.
he's necessarily afraid because of that. I think that it would be no surprise to me if Darren and Voice of Rao did believe Val-El's science. They did
Right.
believe that there was another person coming, but they're so into power and keeping order and all this other BS that they kept that from them, but they know that there is something coming.
course.
So that's where I think the fear came from.
and same with Black Zero. They're afraid of Black Zero. Why are they focusing so much effort on this? It's to detract attention from the fact of like actually knowing what science is
Yeah.
really out
Okay,
there.
that's a good point. Yeah,
You
I
know?
wasn't buying it until you said that.
Now
I was
you
like,
buy
no, I
it?
think
Okay.
you guys
Because
are- I don't
like
at all. I'm sorry.
Okay, great.
I
I'm
love
gonna leave it at
that.
that.
I love that.
Until
Yes.
that point, I was about to say like no, but I was
But
like,
they-
all right,
yeah, they
that's
know.
a good point. Yeah, I personally did not feel any like fear from Rao. I know he was getting a little antsy about something.
Maybe that's what I was feeling.
Yeah, I
but-
know. I mean, like any terrorist group that's after you, like he's been attacked like personally, like with the bomb. So like I could see why he's afraid of like this terrorist group. That's like, yeah, they're gonna get me. so let's get them first. Yeah, I'm not afraid. Just get them first,
Just get
please.
somebody.
Also,
Please.
one quick thing that I do not want to glance over. So last week, right, it was teased at the end of the episode. Darren was gonna get, I don't know, chewed out by the voice of Rao, right? Or not? I guess not, because it didn't happen this
No,
episode.
it kind of did though.
What happened?
He did say like someone from a place of power within the higher ranks needs to
That
pay
is
the
nothing.
sacrificial.
That's okay. He said
That's
that,
why
but that
he-
wasn't like directed towards Darren at all. It was more just like.
I thought it was directed towards Darren, and Darren was like, I'm not being the person. Let me
and
go
then
find somebody
he gave
else.
like a gulp, and then he like sweat a bit, and then he's like, okay.
Well, yeah, he found someone else to die instead.
No, he didn't find. Rao told him to go get Lida.
He never said Lyda's name in particular. He
But
said
it's
someone
implied.
needs. It could have been implied that Darren was the one that needed to fall.
No, because then we would have seen Rao call out Darren, and then, but no, apparently not. So
Oh, I thought it was implied that he was
like
meeting Darren or someone. He's like, well, someone needs to pay.
either way, besides the point, my point is that this show teased that Darren was gonna get something, and he got nothing.
Oh.
Well, he was gonna get in trouble, and he didn't get in trouble, and I was just like, what?
He's angry about it.
Yeah, that was a whole like one of the biggest plot
well,
points
I
of
didn't
like
think
the
it was-
last episode. Was just like, ooh, daddy, like you're gonna get in trouble with the big man. What are you gonna do?
Oh
like,
my gosh.
yeah, like that's, and it was like, oh man, I don't know. And on this episode, it's like, oh, I guess nothing happens to him.
Well,
I'm a little annoyed it didn't pay it off. That's about it. That's why. I want to see him get something instead of like.
I think he'll get
Nice
his
little-
due closer to the end, though.
Well, I do have good news for you guys, something that is positive. Do you want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me keep listening. I knew you would. For those who do, have we got the podcast for you and you, Anthony?
Hey,
you need
do
this
that.
right now.
Oh, how do you know?
Conversations with Maria Menounos podcast edition is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Every Friday, you guys.
Boom,
Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of your life. Lord knows we all need that.
True.
From health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and more, let our Maria be the big sister you've always wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free, you guys. Make sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know it was the Krypton panel who sent you. I know you guys are into comics and
pretty good.
Krypton. Oh my gosh, that was really good.
We were in sequence with it, so it worked.
But you guys would love this podcast. We love it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Right on.
I
So,
love it.
back to Krypton. This kind of leads to Brainiac's, the little voice of Rao.
It looks like a shrine or like a cross or like an insignia or action figure or something.
That's possessed.
Yes.
And we find that out when Voice of Rao has it, and it basically does the same thing that did to Ona's mother.
Yeah.
So did you guys think that? I was not expecting that
I was not at all.
Sorry, I was reading light chat. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I kind of knew that that Brainiac's like organic parasite or whatever infection would be somewhere else because Val-El told us that she was dying and then she did
has to go
die.
somewhere
so
else,
it does
yeah.
have to go somewhere, which is why I was like, is Seg gonna find this out? I was freaking out, but I had no idea that was gonna happen.
Yeah, there was no set. Well, I believe there was no setup as to like, oh, by the way, it can take over inanimate objects. Like,
No, I thought that was spectacular. Like the fact that it was planted there, and I think Ona did it. She specifically planted it there. Because why would her mother end up saying those as her last words?
Well,
That was the
That
only
is-
lead up. That was the
Really?
only lead
Okay.
up of it. You know what I mean?
That's
and I didn't expect that was the reason why. I thought it was like, oh, don't let her go to Rao, or oh, don't let her do that.
yeah.
I mean,
That's a good point. I thought it could be that like it was either A, that she knew that Voice of Ra was kind of like had this huge like bad side to it.
Right.
Or that B, the last part of her like brain connection with
Right.
Brainiac was saying like, that's what I'm going to do is take over Voice of Ra, which places him in the best position moving forward.
Of course.
To literally have all the information uploaded that he could possibly need because Voice of Ra is the most powerful person in the planet.
yeah.
So that was really crazy. And then that kind of brings us to Val-El, Adam Strange, and Seg. Adam is trying to get Seg on the same page, and then this is when he finds out that Lita was taken for treason, which we'll talk about that later.
it's Lida.
Lida, sorry.
It's okay.
It's Lida. I love
Like
that.
a Lida.
No, correct me.
I got corrected too. Sorry.
Correct me. I'm just talking too fast.
I'm just bitter. And
He really wanted Lita.
But so that takes us to this. I don't know what they are. It's a commander and it's a group that follows him. They said that they're Black Zero associated, but they're not Black Zero.
Right.
He kind of scoffed in his face when he associated him with Black Zero. That scene was
like,
disgusting to me.
Excuse me.
We're better than
Bless you. we have this commander. I feel like all of a sudden he just went 0 to 100, started torturing him. Didn't even ask him a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys think this is a smart way to go about business?
I mean, I usually when I want answers out of someone, I stick a bug up their nose.
Stick up their nose. Now you will listen to me.
I like the method. I feel like it was interesting. It does like at first you think it's torture. I also got flashbacks to the Matrix, the first Matrix. Have you guys ever seen that? Where like they stick a anyway, sorry. So it was to check if there were sentries. So it was very interesting in the fact that these people know what's up, as in like, hey, we know about Brainiac, but we don't know how they know about Brainiac, which is a little annoying. I want to call them like they're like
know.
mercenaries though.
But didn't they have connection with like Val-El?
Did they work in the same?
Because he even made the comment as well to Seg, where he was like, "Are you gonna be another like useless L, or are you gonna help?"
Right.
So like.
Good point.
And honestly, it seems like this group, like Black Zero, is not even an issue. I feel like once you see this group, you realize that Black Zero is like a non-issue, but that the bigger people in power are just focusing on it. I feel like this group of power is trying to like divert attention. They're like, big people, look at Black Zero, but we're actually controlling all of this over here.
No, I agree, and I feel like it's a very smart play by the writers of the show, because it does have some comparisons to real life happenings when people are oppressed. They often, and like we see it in different sections, like in the Middle East right now, or Palestine, Iran, Iraq, and yada yada, where like you don't really know if it's a group of people that were oppressed and are kind of like ruining it for the rest of people because they're extremists, or if it's like the government put a bad name on them because they have this whole hoax like Voice of Ra has going on. So I love that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think they did a great job with all of this because there's so many different twists and turns, but they're also like fluidly connected, and it makes sense. The way that it's like, I don't know, it's very latched within reality, even though it's such a supernatural world, which I like.
I'm gonna call and say that that's our boy that was mentioned in the last episode. I'm trying to, not Dax. What's his name? Jax Orr. I believe that's Jax Orr.
Jax.
The guy who interrogated him.
The commander?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Can we just take a moment? Because I'm trying to break down what his plan was behind this. The whole point of them is to save Krypton and Kryptonians in Kandor.
Right.
But within, one of his men disobeyed him or laid a hand on Seg when he didn't give him the order, and then he snapped his neck. And then he knocked out another girl for letting him get Seg being released, which I got that. That makes a little more sense. No, but just snapping someone's neck?
Okay, the snap neck is like the absurd one. The one with where he punches a chick was actually
a little more.
It's because she had the thing in her, the bug thing
in her
mind. Yeah. So she just like straight knocked her out just for her own good.
Okay, I thought she had gotten it out and was running after him.
Yeah.
I was like, no, she woke up alert.
Yeah, the one where he snaps the neck though, that was absurd. I was just like, what? That was like
that was a waste of
0 to 100 like real quick. Also, like I feel bad for everyone under your control now because like you're not a great person.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, no wonder you guys haven't moved forward. There's something.
You keep killing people.
Could he possibly just be like overly protective of Seg? And he was like, no one touches Seg.
I mean, maybe
because he knows how important he is.
Snape.
Well, Seg doesn't know his own importance, if that's the case.
Maybe he knows how important Seg is to like the overall scheme of things or something.
Well, let's talk about Seg. Yeah. So one thing I loved about this episode was the love involved.
Yes.
We are absolutely clear.
When he punched a chick?
No.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't have questions of it, but now it's absolutely confirmed he loves Lyda so much.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But he finally said it.
Yes,
that's a big deal.
Worth fighting for if Lyda is not in it.
That was beautiful. That was like the most beautiful line I've ever heard. I want someone to say that about me.
I know, and he let Nyssa know, like, look, they will. Look. They will say that about you.
Yes. He thought it was funny.
What?
I'm just kidding. Huh? But anyways,
I'm surprised they
So what did he? So now we know that's kind of like a big part of his motives moving forward.
Of course.
And okay, before we do get, I feel like that will lead us into Nyssa and that whole section. Yeah. But do you guys have anything else about Seg's position right now?
When he's captured, well, I just want to talk about like I think it's I liked how cool it is how it's now trying to save Lita. I mean Lyta. trying to save Lyta because in the previous episodes it's kind of like her coming through for him, and now it's like him trying to come through for her. Also that whole interrogation scene was a little
we'll get into that one.
I don't know, it was a little confusing because like I just didn't like how the commander like agreed to help Seg right away. I'm like, dude, you have this guy like strapped to a chair. He's in no position to give you any proposition. Where you're like, okay, I'll help you.
Yeah,
it's like what?
That is a really interesting point. I'm glad you bring that up because it's like Seg did agree to helping him if he gets Lyta out, but then.
And then just like takes his word for it. Like, okay, cool, he's gonna help me. I'm just gonna go break out this person out of like this heavily like military zone, like prison, and
but
then
they're like they can do that.
I know they can do that,
Seg,
but like
my question is, once Seg agreed, if they are on the same terms, did he dip because he just got a sudden impulse? Is it because he actually didn't trust him the entire time? What do you think his motive was behind that?
Because he's a rankless and he's a rat. No, I'm just kidding. And he shouldn't be trusted by this commander guy. Like, are you kidding me? Seg's a slippery snake. He's not gonna sit around and do nothing. Also, he's our hero, so he has to do something. I mean, but like, it's just, I don't know. I got a little annoyed by that. How the commander was just like, okay, we're gonna help you out, and then just leave.
If you were strapped to a chair, would you just sit there aimlessly? Like, no, you're gonna try and get out. And I don't think he was ever gonna give over Rom at all. I think he was just using that as like his negotiation chip to be like, well, at least I can try and save Lyta. I don't think he was ever gonna save Rom.
Yeah.
And like give her over.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of pointless to give her over.
Yeah, and like what happens now? Like, do they go save Lyta and then he comes back like, oh, he's gone.
Now are they even gonna save Lyta?
Oh, what if they save Lyta, keep her hostage until Seg actually comes through?
I feel like that sounds more probable.
You guys, Voice of Rao is not Voice of Rao anymore, so I feel like they might not even, she might be released because things are about to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Ish
there's no
gonna go
order
down.
happening now.
Well, do you feel like the collapse of Kandor is
I think that like there's going to be a huge power struggle for who's on top because it's clearly not Voice of Rao anymore.
Yeah, but it's not gonna. Well,
I think he's gonna play it up.
Yeah, I was about to say,
think he's gonna basically like. I mean, he has the mask.
He's gonna play the game.
So Brainiac or whatever.
Oh, the mask
is going to end up putting the helmet on and play the part.
Yeah.
And use the power from within, because didn't they say at the very beginning that like Brainiac knows how to like infiltrate? He gets all the information about the people and becomes part of the people in order to cause their own demise. So it's
that's
like,
why hitting Voice of Rao is like the best person ever.
Of course.
But I didn't think about, because in the other case you could see him,
right,
and it's obvious that he's possessed a body, but with the mask and the robes, that's perfect. You can't see anything.
Yeah, he's like completely covered up.
But it's Brainiac. No. If you really think about all of it, it was so ingenious the way that he plotted all of it. Like, he found someone that has a daughter that's so obsessed with the leader of your country or your world,
or like,
and then plots it into the mother and then gets it into the daughter in order to get, like, everyone's going to trust a child. It's the best way to infiltrate anything. So just like, that was like the perfect plan around. If that was a plan. But if it was, that was like spot on.
And on top of that.
That is actually a really great point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, to be able to do like, think that far in advance. To realize like the steps that you had to take in order to get. I mean,
you're saying Brainiac plotted that entire plan.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's really smart on the writer's side because Brainiac's played by Blake Ritson. So now if he's Voice of Rao just on like a time and money and like makeup level, that's so much easier to get him into the episodes without like the 8-hour or whatever makeup it takes to get him in that Brainiac.
True.
But I love him in the Brainiac. It's so creepy.
Cool. It was so cool. And
So
the
cool.
eyes thing.
I wonder how big he is.
How big Brainiac is in scale, I wonder. Because that world, that ship that he's on, or whatever that living organism is huge.
Yes.
Huge.
Huge. Planet Eater.
Planet Eater.
City stealer.
Before we get into the next topic, if you guys are listening on iTunes, please leave us a review, rate us 5 stars, ask us your questions. Also, well, hold on.
5
No,
stars.
keep going.
5 stars.
Sorry.
Subscribe to our podcast, and you get updates on when our newest episodes drop. And if you're on YouTube, give us those thumbs
There it
up.
is.
You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to the Sci-Fi Fantasy channel at AfterBuzz and the Superhero channel. And we'll see you every week, and it's going to be greater every week, even though we don't have that much left.
We have 6.
6 episodes. We're almost at halfway mark.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So that leads us to kind of our last section, which is a huge section in terms of moving forward in this whole series. We have Lyda, who's accused of treason.
Yep.
And that beginning scene, let's just start from like the beginning of that plot side with House Vex and House Zod. Lyda's in, and I love that little speech she gave about, like the pep speech she gave to them for accusing her before Darren ruined it, like he ruins everything.
That's pretty good.
But that was so, I really...
Wait, what was that? Before he ruins everything?
Darren came in
Darren,
and ruined
okay.
everything.
I think I meant Dev. I was like, what?
I really love Lyda as a character. She's so like, I feel like the perfect mixture of her mom and kind of like Seg almost, where she has like a really strong moral compass and wants to do the right thing, but is kind of limited. But she also wants to be loyal to Candor. Of course. So then Darren comes in and takes her because Voice of Ra says someone of higher rank needs to be blamed, which I thought it could have been her mom.
Right.
But so that kind of threw me for a loop. Were you guys, when he said that, who did you guys first jump to?
Lyda. Yeah.
I thought
Oh, you
Lyda.
thought Lyda?
Yeah, because I
Not
mean,
Jaina?
it would make sense to go for the mother because she's higher up, but she didn't do anything wrong. So you have to find someone that was at fault
Yeah.
Yeah.
in order to do it.
And then and if it was her mother, like that work against them because the
He
mother's
needs the alliance.
like like the mother's pretty much like on their side. Like she's too much of a like military person. Yeah, I was gonna say something else, but yeah. But yeah, it was cool. I liked. I didn't get that in the last episode. How I was like, yeah, I arrested her so I wouldn't start this riot, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
But it kind of plays into like what I was saying too. Like you have to have the trust and see where like power is exuded. So if someone like kills this person, they're gonna revolt.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't get that on the last episode. Like I get why she did it and everything.
Right.
Well, like personally, because she's got like that great moral compass. But I didn't realize like it suppressed soon to be riot, I guess. And that was reminded me back to, if you guys ever seen Do the Right Thing, the film. Okay, never mind. Why do I even bring up references?
That kind of brings us to House Vex, and we'll talk about Jaina and Nissa because I feel like them two as characters had the most development as really seeing kind of what their underlying motives are, who they are as people, and kind of like what they got in this life and what they're gonna plan on taking out of it. So Nissa she finds out what she already knew, that Seg loves Lyda. And I know she's jealous. I know she's a little bit jealous.
Of course.
But she knows she's got him. Like she said to Lyda, I got the baby coming, so move aside. But I was surprised. Now that I know the House Vex, their motive is to take over rule, but I was surprised that she listened to Lyda, she does actually agree with Lyda, and she was really mad at her dad for doing this just because Voice of Ra said so. What I worry about Nissa is that she gives me this Ivanka Trump vibes.
Wait, real quick, hold on. You said that she was mad because.
Because
Okay.
Sorry, I'll be quiet.
Let it out.
I'll let you.
I'm
You
done,
want to
I'm
know
done.
why? Because she is like Ivanka Trump, and Darren is like Trump. Because when they were like running for power, you were like, okay, like worst comes to worst, if this happens, Nissa will at least will at least be like the nice one to like debate at least. But I worry that if they actually do gain power, she's gonna just like succumb to it, just like Ivanka has.
I feel like she'd overthrow her father.
Sarah, see it?
Real quick, I just want to go backtrack a bit. You just mentioned that you liked how she was mad about or like it's a point to make that she was mad about Nissa being the one held responsible. I mean, sorry, it was
Lyda.
thank you, being the one held responsible.
Yeah, like she doesn't. understand why her dad literally has no backbone, I assume. Like, she's like, you're just doing this because, like, because in the beginning, if you saw, she actually thought that Lyda was guilty of it.
But why do you think Nissa's mad at her dad for?
She's always going to be loyal to her dad, but she was upset that he did that without, like, proof, with knowing that he's setting her up.
I think as much as we, like, have qualms about Nissa, I think that her and Lyda are similar in the regards that they both do have strong moral compasses.
No, here's the thing.
I do.
No. Here's the thing. I'm gonna argue against that. Nissa is still. This is all part of, like, this is
her plan.
This is a wrench in her plan because they needed Lyda to not be be held accountable for anything. Like, they need Lyda to be in power and not be, once she's in power, to not have that power taken away from her. So she's not mad about her being in jail or anything.
But why?
Because she's not mad about Lyda being in jail with no proof or anything. She's mad because she's in jail because that ruins her plan to take over. Over the voice of Rao.
It's partly that, and you're right. It is partly the fact that House Vex has made clear that their plan, this for I don't know how long, has been to overtake Voice of Rao and become the main people in charge. So yeah, they need House Zod, like they said, as allies because Jaina and Lyda are very powerful. But I do think that she does have more of a moral compass, and that's clearer than Darren.
Well, because the thing is like she doesn't.
I don't agree at all.
She doesn't need Lyda. She doesn't, because her mother, regardless, like, if Nissa wouldn't have gotten involved and, like, convinced the mother to, like, come to their side or whatever, her mother is so loyal to the house that she was going to let her daughter, like, die if she had to. So they don't really need Lyda within their plan as long as they still have the mother.
They possibly need Lyda because once they start to overthrow, the mother will go up against them and be like, you are treasonous. And they don't want to have that.
I think the only reason why she wants to keep Lyda too is because she wants to keep Seg under control. And the fact that he said that he's in love with her, like, he would not cooperate with them at all if they killed his love.
Yeah,
that's possible.
She needs Seg and she needs Jaina, and I do think that she needs Lyda. I think she needs all of them, but I know that brings me to connecting her and Jaina's conversation, and that was a cool scene because I think both of those women are such good actors, and they were so, like, powerful, and they Jaina is more of, like, she stands for what, like, she's been given, like, her role in society, and I feel like Nissa is kind of, like, trying to social climb with her father. But it was really interesting to see the plays off that and the way she's trying to manipulate Jaina. And at first she's like, no, there's always a catch with House Vex. Like, that's my problem with you guys. Right. But now she's like, I do, like, without Lyda, what's the point? I do think that she's starting to realize that. Do you guys think that she's going to come around and...
Who?
Jaina.
Yes. Well, because they called her daughter a traitor.
Reluctantly, she'll probably come around. Yeah.
I mean, she realizes, like, that her house is not a traitor and that her daughter's not a traitor. She knows that. So, like, when someone calls your daughter that, it's like flipping a switch. It's like, hold up, wait a second. But again,
especially for their family, what they represent.
Of course. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to stand up for their house. And they're going to stand up for their name and for their relationship and their place in society. So she's going to do whatever needs possible to keep her daughter alive, too. So I think she'll go to their side, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, but it'll be really interesting to see how that plays off. We'll get into predictions. But before that, we'll do Anthony's special character corner segment. And then after that, news and hot topics, and then the predictions.
Okay,
so you want to give us your character corner?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I like that. Character corner.
That's from Jeff, one of our engineers.
Character corner, with both K's. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Next week it'll be both C's.
Both C's, guys. All right. I didn't really do it. I couldn't do one last week because we had the guests, so I wanted to go back and revisit Jax Ur, who I believe was the commander who kidnapped Seg. But Ivan in the chat actually said that Jax Ur will be a female on this show, so instead of male, which is
that's cool.
Goes against all the canon. But for this character corner, he's gonna be a he. So, first appearance it was actually in Action Comics number 289 back in October 1961, created by Otto Binder and George Papp. And origins, he's a Kryptonian and he's part of the Science Guild. Also, I read somewhere it's also the Thinker Guild, so they might be the same. I'm not sure. Go ahead and correct me in the chat. I know you will. Abilities, powers. So pretty much when he's operating under the yellow sun, he gets like the exact same powers as pretty much Superman. So yeah, superhuman abilities similar to Superman. Enhanced strength, speed, stamina, vulnerability, fight, and vision-based powers. In some canons of the comics, so yeah, he's part of the Kryptonian Science Guild, and he worked alongside Jor-El. That's why I thought that the commander was because he mentioned that like I know your grandfather and everything. So they could have worked together, and when things were going down, like I'm sure Jor-El wasn't the only one working alone. Like he could have been not working alone, so he could have been with like Jax-Ur. But who knows? We'll have to wait. So he gained notoriety when he developed a Kryptonian nuclear warhead and set his sights on shooting it at a meteor out in space. But his plan failed thanks to Jor-El, Superman's dad, because he was in a spaceship and he knocked the missile's trajectory off of its course and it went straight into the moon of Weghor, where destroying over 500 colonists on that moon. But I want to pose the question: who's the real murderer here? I mean, I haven't read into the story, but Jor-El, you should have just let that missile hit that meteor. But apparently,
just kill them all.
Yeah, so they blame Jax for that, and he becomes the first criminal in Kryptonian history to be locked within the Phantom Zone. Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
And also, there's a little bit on him on the DCEU in Man of Steel. He's portrayed on that picture. He's portrayed by Mackenzie Gray, and so he joined General Zod's the Sword of Ra to overthrow the Law Council and was captured, tried for treason, and thrown into the Phantom Zone. So similar, he didn't blow up like a whole colonist, but he tried to do a coup. Part of in the movies they call him part of the Thinker Guild, and I was just like, and then another note too, which I thought was cool. He's the only one that's not part of the warrior/military guild in the Sword of Ra when he's rolling with Zod, which I thought was, I was like, oh, he's like the smart ones of the group, I guess. They're all brawn. Oh, they're all like super smart, but he's like smarter. Yeah. Some of his abilities in the DCEU he's a Thinker Guild, so he's a foremost scientist on par with Jor-El, just as smart as Jor-El, like similar to that. It was actually under Jax-Ur's instructions that Zod was able to retrofit the Phantom Zone projector into a Phantom Drive, and they used it to search for more Kryptonian survivors. So they made it into like some sort of like traveling vessel. And he also had an appearance on Smallville. If you look at that picture, he was and instead his name was Dax-Ur because he wasn't a villain in Smallville. He was more like a homie.
What's that?
And he was played by Mark McClure, and Mark McClure actually played Jimmy Olsen in 4 Superman movies, as well as the Supergirl movie in 1984.
That's
so that was a fun fact.
Cool.
And in the show Smallville, he's actually responsible for coming up with the supercomputer that would eventually be Brainiac. That's finished by Jor-El afterwards. So I was like, so he's been seen in like different types of like canon within DC. So those are just like 3 I decided to choose from and just talk about.
Thank you.
That's
I didn't know most of that.
I learn so much every time you come on.
I know.
Oh, thank you.
Davey Elmer in the chat actually said they already cast Hannah Waddingham as Jax-Ur, and then Xavier Jones Jr. said she's from Game of Thrones and 12 Monkeys.
Oh, cool.
So that will be cool. That it's cool to see all the different versions, and then it'll be female.
I love that it's
love
female.
That. Yeah, I love what that show's doing with that. And then from there, do you want to tell us the exciting news that will be?
AfterBuzz TV News.
That was great.
News? Okay. I was like, are we doing it? Yeah. So real quick, I have a little bit of news for you. So Krypton has their own like web series called Decrypting Krypton.
That's so cool.
Go figure.
Decrypting Krypton.
What, you got a better name? I get it. Okay.
No, we love it.
So the host Matt Hiscox interviewed artist Bobby Q and also Sean Sippos. and who plays Adam Strange. And so Sean talks about how Adam's the only human, like some of the talking points, you guys can go find it on online and stuff. It's a short little video. But some of the things he talked about, some quick highlights, how Adam's the only human on the show, and how he has like a struggle which is pretty much if he's good enough to be what he wants to be, which I believe that he wants to be a superhero. And not only like Adam himself, but actually it's more Sean Sippos himself wants to be a superhero. But Adam himself is like has an internal struggle. And so he also talks about Adam's connection with Superman, how he's the eyes and ears of the audience, and also how they touch a little bit upon like he actually Sean asked the show writers if he's ever gonna don the Adam Strange signature red and white costume, and he has like a sort of like a, I guess like a helmet thing that has like a fin on it, like a
so cool.
It's very hard to miss for sure. Yeah. So check that out. Check all that out online. You can find that. Just type in Decrypting Krypton. I believe it was episode 4 or 3, the most recent one, really. But yeah, that's all I got for news. Unless I want to. Okay.
Well, our biggest news is happening this week.
Bigger news.
Bigger news.
Dun, dun.
So okay. Yeah, we're having a very strange guest on Wednesday. Actually, it's gonna be Wednesday at 2, I believe.
Yeah. So instead of our normal tape time Sunday, we will be doing this Wednesday.
It's gonna be it's gonna be like a
separate entity.
It's gonna be a separate entity. It's like it is part of the Krypton after show, but we're not gonna talk about too much of the after show. It's gonna be an interview focused episode for you guys. But we're interviewing Adam Strange himself. Sean Sippos is gonna come through. Yep, pretty excited.
I can't believe I'm missing it.
I know.
I'm like so
will be
upset.
missing it, you guys. We are so excited.
Yeah.
That's why he said we have a very strange guest. So then we'll be breaking it down with him Wednesday, and then Sunday we'll be breaking down the episode
again on
so
the
make
same
sure
time,
that you guys leave us in the comments, not the chat, because those are deleted, or
any
tweet us
questions.
anything, questions you want us to ask, anything like that.
Yeah, and I just bought a little like surprise present for him to do a little something with.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have games, maybe a couple giveaways, maybe. So it'll be a really exciting episode, you guys. We cannot wait to have him on. So make sure you ask, let us know what you want us to ask him, or
that'd be great.
Tell him anything.
And go subscribe so that you know and you get the alert that it's actually happening.
Yeah, if you leave a comment, we'll shout out your YouTube name on there.
Yes.
Like, this person asked this.
Speaking of
be a little fun little thing.
YouTubers, few shout outs for you guys in the chat. We love when you guys are here. We're going to definitely try to be more active in the chat with you guys.
Man, so many.
Ivan
Right? That's
Soto,
amazing.
Ali Beg, Davey Elmer, Jacob with I think it's might be Jacob, spelled
Jacob?
very uniquely
Jacob.
Albers.
Jacob.
And that's just a few to name, but you guys are so awesome. We really love having you guys here. Keep being active with us and ask us what you want. If there's something you guys want us to cover, if we're wrong about anything, we love to talk to you guys.
Yep.
And before we wrap up the show, should we get into some predictions?
Sorry, I just read something else. I was like, oh wow.
What?
So it says episode 5 has been teased by the cast and twist. By the way, this is from Ivan.
Before we get into predictions, Anthony's decided there's a sudden announcement.
No, this is going to predictions. Like, what if Colin Salmon is Lyda's dad? As in the commander that kidnapped Seg. Is Lyda's dad.
Oh, well, that can be
I don't
your
know.
prediction.
Huh?
Is that part of your prediction?
I just think that's something to let ruminate for
Yeah,
sure.
I think-
I'm gonna let that soak in.
That's a thought.
We'll see.
I thought it was like really cool. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean,
don't know
the
why I
inception of
reacted
children
to that.
there is a little bit different
Yeah,
than anything
I
else,
don't want to
too,
make
so
the assumption yet.
It's a little bit different, but
That's a good idea. But
Maybe.
I'm not ready to commit. Is the issue.
she's commitment issues.
I have commitment issues. And I'm not trying to baby someone off to a daddy that he might not want to be the father of. Okay, you guys?
Oh my god.
That was great. Oh my god. Well, wait. What are your predictions?
Okay, I'll start it off.
You go.
My predictions.
I have the worst predictions.
It's
Sorry.
yeah. My predictions of this show are not very. I feel like the first season
Just
of
same,
any
just
show,
same.
I just don't understand.
same.
Okay, Anthony, thank you so much. Okay, I think Lyda will be released, and that will be the joining of House Vex and House Zod by force, not by choice. And then I think that Seg, when he finds out kind of what happened when he gets back, I feel like he's going to have one more challenge to kind of overcome, and then I think that leadership role that we want in Seg will come. Those are my main points.
Okay.
My main predictions.
How do you think the mysterious commander fits into
The world?
No, fits into how you said the Zods and the Vex will combine? Because you said the Vex are gonna get Lyda out, but like if these guys are on their way to get him out, it's gonna come out ahead.
No, I think that's that's a really good point, and that's exactly why I think the show introduced that group this episode, because next episode there's going to be a collide of the different houses and then different organizations, and then kind of a bring about of, yo, you guys, we are not the only planet. Newsflash, we're screwed. Buckle up.
Well, going off of all of that, I feel like what's going to happen is now that, Seg wasn't cooperating, he escaped. That group of power are still going to get Lyda out, but hold her hostage and use her as a manipulation tool in order to figure all this out. And I think going off of that, with the houses combining, I think adding the Brainiac factor into the fact that he is now the, face of Rao, or the voice of Rao, I think that it's going to take an episode or two, but these two houses are going to not only realize, like, they're coming together to overthrow him for one purpose, but now they're really going to try and overthrow him because they're going to realize something's different about him. He's going to do something that's completely different than what the norm is, and then they're going to have to, like, basically go into all-out war to overthrow.
Ooh, I like the spice. Anthony.
I gotta up the ante.
I only brought salt in the spice. Salt and pepper here.
No, but you have the character corner. That was
got the
very
character
spicy.
corner.
Thanks, guys. Just to
I got
be
the jalapeno
reminded
pepper.
of my worth on this show.
You got salt and pepper.
No,
I got jalapeno pepper.
I'm very curious about that commander dude, this mysterious faction, like the mercenaries. I want to see how they play into it. I want to see how Seg gets back into the he's like practically stranded, bleeding, bruised.
Like, did he cut his finger off that bit?
No, he got like stabbed at one point.
No, but his finger was dripping.
No,
They
yeah,
zoomed in on
he
his
got
finger.
stabbed on like his left side, so it could have been dripping all the way down.
Yeah, he's
Was it?
scavenging
Okay.
back.
Yeah, when
he's
he-
like not doing it too hot.
When he
No.
punched that woman in the face,
It was great.
I just love
Great way to summarize that scene.
That whole bit, that's all you got out of it.
That's
You
how
punched her in
rumors
the
start.
face.
That's how rumors
Is it not
start.
fact?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I really want to see what happens there. I want to see, is there more sentries going around? Like, is she
whole
just,
thing's gonna be
is like
taken over.
Ona like have more like things that she touched along the way that just like she infected?
It's so creepy
Like,
when
is
like
there-
the little
Baby.
girl is the vehicle.
Yes.
What?
Like,
There's
is
a
there-
lot of shows that do that, though, which is really creepy.
Very.
That they do that. No.
No.
Nope.
So is that your?
Oh yeah, I want to see if there's more sentries out there. Like, is there gonna be like slowly a Brainiac army that's just gonna start amassing like out of nowhere? Because everyone wears masks, so like you could like
True.
hide it really easily.
Yeah.
Creepy. We do know that next episode, it will be called House of Zod. So we're for sure going to be getting way more Zod action,
Yes.
which is what I think all of us unanimously think. But we are going to wrap things up, you guys. So next Sunday, we will be covering House of Zod. This Wednesday, do not forget, we will be in the studio with Adam Strange. So remember to ask us tell us the questions or things you want us to let him know. I'm Steph Sabraw. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Steph Sabraw. Anthony.
I'm Anthony.
And he forgot his name.
I'm Superman. I'm Anthony Baccera, everybody. You can find me everywhere at Tony B Tony _ Again, Tony B Tony _ Super Tony.
Yes. And I'm Candice Cruz. And you can find me on all of my social media at Candice R. Cruz.
Okay, that's it, guys. We'll see
All
you
right.
next Wednesday. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
We're going on a cruise.
We're going on
From
a
executive
tangent.
producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
I am
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.